that are being raised here in the dailies today. How is Nyamira?
Nyamira is fine. I've just come back. I came back yesterday.
Okay.
And of course the people are fine, despite what I perceive to be a serious loss of confidence on the leadership of the president. I think that should be worrying to the president than anything else. And I'm surprised my colleagues from UDA are running away from this show. They should be here and apologizing. I saw some adorning T-shirts out there. We should use this forum to apologize to Kenyans, not running away.
Maybe the fear of just getting out from their gates as well. Or
you can run
today
away,
is a very also serious
but
day
you
as
cannot
well.
hide. They need to read the public mood, come to this show, make confessions where you have wronged Kenyans, apologize, so that you can build some goodwill with Kenyans. I saw the same thing. The people who voted yes from Nyamira, I didn't see them anywhere over the weekend. So I think they need to go back to the drawing board and start acting in public interest. But we did our tea elections, Debal over the weekend. The members of SDF fraternity were not very impressed that the elections were carried out on a Saturday. And I don't know whether the CEO of IBC will move to
because of religious purposes.
2027, carrying himself the way I saw him carrying out his duties in Nyamira and Kisi. Because the elections were supposed to have been held on Friday. Farmers waited all day, and the ballots were never delivered from IEBC. Then you laterally moved the elections to Saturday, a day of worship for majority of the residents of that county. That was not very nice, but we finished the elections peacefully. There could be issues around that exclusion of SDA, members of SDA church, but by and large the elections were peaceful, and the new directors are in office. You know, I've just sat here, if you could allow me a minute, to comment on what I've heard from Honorable Nyikal, that a serious matter, you know, like giving a nod for the deployment of military on our civilian spaces, our streets. I don't know where they will be in the counties, because when I looked at the Gazette notice, it talks of deployment of the military throughout the 47 counties. You know, I'm actually horrified. I was trying to dig into YouTube just to see which member is this who supported this. How was the vote carried out in the National Assembly? I couldn't get anything. You know, the same day you sat, because we are all in Parliament, you're on the other left side, you're on the right side. The Senate was sitting on the right side, and you were sitting on the left side. The proceedings of the Senate on that day is all available on YouTube. The answer of the Senate deliberations of that was on Wednesday, are on the website. You can upload, okay? You will know who moved the motion that the House adjourns, and you know, like what you did, which again I find very strange, that you can adjourn when the country is having all these of burning issues, and say you want to run out of town, go to the constituencies. That really, I was taken aback. I thought this is the time that we need National Assembly to continue with these sittings, so that we deliberate on all the issues that the Gen Z generation, Gen Z, have put on the table. So I really want to know, because proceedings of National Assembly are public. Proceedings of National Assembly should be recorded. The proceedings of National Assembly should be uploaded to the website. We see who made the contribution, because this is the era of transparency. We need to see Dibal, who moved the motion, who is this member of parliament? Not not to use the word parliament. Who is this member of National Assembly who was authorized? In a record, I don't know whether it took 10 minutes, I don't know whether it was 30 minutes.
Definitely less than 30 minutes.
Because we are not getting any record. I don't know why the answer is not being uploaded, so that we also scrutinize and know whether it took the kind of time Dr. Nyikali is telling us. 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. Imagine 30 minutes to release military from the barracks to our streets at a time when, if you look at the mood in the country, we as parliamentarians are facing a lot of outrage from the public. Trust deficit between an elected member of parliament and the people. It's at its lowest level. Trust deficit is at its lowest level. So we need to scrutinize the bill, just like the finance bill, where we can draw a list and know these are the people who debated, this is the person who moved, seconded, and voted to unleash the army on us, without even bothering to allow adequate debate, allow this to be done in the open, where the public is able to watch and see whether there was justification. Because a motion should be supported by grounds, okay? So that we look and say, was this merited? I think that was very, very unfortunate, Val, and we must scrutinize that decision of the National Assembly further. But if what has been said by Honorable Nyikali is true this morning, that matter was not in the order paper, if it's true, then it stinks of some mischief from the state. If somebody switched off the deliberations of National Assembly so that the public does not scrutinize that decision-making process, again, it's marks of some mischief. If this thing is not available on our website, Parliament website, for us to see the deliberation, then it tells you, Dibal, that there was some mischief. And I'll support Honorable Nyikali decision of moving to court, probably to seek a nullification of that decision. That is a huge decision, Mm-hmm. The first ever, I think, in the 2010 Constitution. If we set a precedent that this is a matter that can be passed just like a joke, we'll be setting a very, very dangerous precedent. Two, I want to appeal to my colleagues, National Assembly. Please, sign up and you reconvene. This is the time that the country needs you to be sitting. When Kenyans watch us deliberating, making some interventions, we are also giving confidence to Kenyans that we have made some mistakes in the past, but we are trying to make up for our past mistakes. The majority leader in the Senate moved a motion for us to follow the cue from the National Assembly and adjourn. But we debated that motion last Wednesday.
Many of you are denying or were startly against.
We were against it.
The adjourning.
Yes, we were against the adjournment. And we gave an example of what happened in the US, where when there was a crisis, when somebody tried to poison Congress in the US, and the two speakers agreed. I don't know that these ones had a conversation, but the two speakers, the one of House of Representatives and the one of the Senate side, agreed that they should move a motion to adjourn so that they ran out of town. So because it was rumored that letters had been sent to Congress, and anybody opening that letter was going to be infected with some poison, which was laced in those envelopes. So the House of Representatives rushed the motion, adjourned, and ran out of town. They ran out of Washington. But the Senate side said no. If somebody wants to kill all members of Congress, then we should actually stay behind so that we do an inquiry and know what were the security lapses that allowed these letters to reach us. So the House of Representatives went, Senate remained. So in this particular time, we were able to marshal 19 senators against 9 that were supporting a motion to adjourn. So we outvoted the government motion to adjourn, and we said we remain in town. We questioned how the shootings took place. We wanted to understand who is this, who was the guy who was leading the police force, or was it the army, who gave directives that people should be shot within the precincts of Parliament. Because it's a different thing to shoot somebody on Uhuru Highway, Kenyatta Avenue, but somebody who has come to the people's representative. And you heard Senator Asige say that these demonstrators found her helpless. You know, she has visual impairment. Mm-hmm. They found her in the Senate. A security person was nowhere, but they just greeted her and said, as we just want to tell you to do the right thing as members of Parliament. They found Bishop Kosgei. Mm-hmm. Those guys could have killed him if they were out to kill. Because they were, when you saw that, you look at that video, there are about 6 of them. This guy is on a wheelchair. I mean, that is the easiest target to kill. But they didn't kill him. They actually said, Mheshimiwa, where do you want us to escort you to? You know, they did not cause any injury to that honorable member of Parliament who was a disability on a wheelchair. And then the police come and tell you that these were dangerous characters who wanted to kill members of Parliament. I'm even told there are members who went to the gate to address them. So we said, instead of adjourning the bar, we remain behind so that we can take the opportunity as members who are the people's representatives to do an inquiry around all these things, to understand whether there were excesses from the police force. So
but the excesses were there because
they were there. I mean,
we've seen some of the exclusives from CNN as well regarding the young 23-year-old Chalo, right, who was a Sunday school teacher, just holding a bottle of water, and he was shot from the back as well.
Even the autopsies shows that the guy who was shot along Parliament was shot from the back. You know, so you're shooting somebody who
is probably running away.
As a riot police force, if you're able to repulse the demonstrator, it should stop there. If you repulse me using the water cannon and I'm running away, you cannot pull the trigger on me. You can't pull the trigger on me because you have already done what you're supposed to do as a police force. You have repulsed me from that gate of Parliament. I've turned back. I'm running away. Why are you shooting me?
Which is very interesting then that we should question then regarding the Maraga report on police reforms, which has been presented to the president.
Before you go there,
yes,
under the Constitution, Article 240, today your Constitution is not on the table. We have the National Security Council, okay, that has all the commanders of these forces. It has the NSIs, the NSI sits there, the Vice President sits in there, the CS Interior sits there, CS Defense sits there, CS Foreign Affairs sits there, and the chairman of that council is none other than His Excellency President, okay? And that council has got what they call supervisory powers over all our security organs, the Defense, National Police Service, National Intelligence Service. The person who chairs that council is the president. And the president has been given supervisory powers, okay? If you go to 245, we have the IG, but the only power that has been given to the IG is to be the commander of the National Police Service. And it says he cannot receive instructions from any other quarters on how to investigate an offense or to employ an ETC. But this entity that has got supervisory powers, called National Security Council, that is chaired by the president, are they the ones who instructed the police to shoot young unarmed Kenyans? And what has this council done? They have seen what has happened. These clips have been circulating out there. What have they done? Or are they sending a message that they are the ones supervising the killings on our young people? Who Senator Asige said are armed with a smartphone
and water bottles.
And water bottles. I mean, you saw in the US when Trump was protesting the results of the presidential elections, Congress was invaded. Nobody wants to approve the invasion of Parliament. But how do you respond, Dibal? Do you want to tell me that if a Kenyan invades Parliament, we shoot them dead? Is that what we are telling the country? That a wrong of just breaching Parliament, our security forces should respond with firing live bullets on those Kenyans. Mm-hmm. Only one person died in the invasion in the US, and that was a security person, not those demonstrators. Those who may have committed any wrong, you have seen files, FBI investigating and taking them to court. And that's what we expected, Debal, that if you have, the way the president was saying, you have videos, if you think you can mount a prosecution, the best that we expect as a nation is for you to arrest the alleged criminal elements, take them to court, let the court make a decision, not to respond with live bullets and killing people armed with a smartphone and a can of bottled water. That is using excessive force. That is inhuman. That is barbaric.
Right, thank you.
No, let me just add some. You know,
could we just run some stories? Then, of course, we shall hear from you. We've got a whole, of course, some 2 hours to go through. We know that the discussion among the youth has moved from reject the finance bill to demands that a wide range of issues be addressed as the operation of a Generation Z continues to stage demonstrations across the country. This past week, as we saw, they managed to put politicians off the pulpits, issue out leaflets dotted with their demands. And today, which is the 2nd of July, they have mobilized to occupy roads on social media platforms. Here is KTN's Vera Mora with details.
Day of the all-new street protest this week with the hashtag Occupy Everywhere and Sit Down. This is after a successful Occupy Parliament protest which saw the death of many young people. The faceless, tribeless, leaderless Generation Z were up with a one-week schedule running from 28th of June to 4th of July 2024. They began the week by keeping the political class off the pulpit, leading to cancellation of some church events, and had a candlelit session in Nairobi to remember their fallen colleagues. It is clear that the agenda has morphed from the rejecting the Finance Bill 2024 to calling on the president to leave, using the hashtag Ruto must go on social media.
The problem is not on the finance bill, the problem is on the spiraling corruption among the people around the president. And you see, he's so much focused in improving the economy, but then we cannot improve the economy by overtaxing the citizens.
The young have outlined areas they want fixed, including scrapping off of housing levy, an audit of national debt, firing of cabinet secretaries with criminal records, restoration of Linda Mama program, employment of JSS teachers, employment of intern doctors, among other minimums. With tension still high in the country even after the president's roundtable with journalists, these are the views of Kenyans.
Mimi na feel ni kama Ruto tusikize tu juu in case hautatusikiza kesho lazima tutoke, lazima tuandamane hadi utusikize.
Tunataka watu wote waliingia bunge, in fact washike. Unaona, akuja tushike. Akisha tushika, tujaze hizo cells. Na tumwambie si ndio tunawalipa hao bunge na pesa zetu.
President William Ruto has invited Generation Z for a discussion on X Space this Thursday. On the other hand, the partyless group has called on all Kenyans to join them on the second day of demos, Thursday, 4th of July, as they occupy major roads in the country and sit down. Vera Mora, KTN News, Nairobi.
Reject the finance bill.
And former Nandi Hills Member of Parliament Alfred Keter appeared before the Directorate of Criminal Investigations headquarters together with Azimio leaders a day after he was violently ejected from his motor vehicle by individuals who looked like policemen. The leaders condemned President William Ruto, who they accuse of misuse of police officers in the ongoing abductions. And as Innocent Ogaro reports, the president defended the police, saying they are within their rights to arrest an individual who declines to appear before them.
Former Nandi Hills MP Alfred Keter is the latest individual to be kidnapped by individuals who have the profiles of police officers in civilian attire. Keter was, however, released by the police a few hours later. Today, Azimio leaders accompanied him to the DCI headquarters where they condemned the act.
I can imagine what the children are going through. In fact, my daughter, who is away, brought it to our attention because we have a family WhatsApp group, and she wanted to know, why has Baba Sasha been arrested? What has he done? What crime has he committed? Now, what explanation can you give to a 12-year child who is asking very hard questions? I only would want to ask the president to look at Kenyans in the eye and tell us how he would have reacted if his own children were treated the way Honorable Keter's children were treated.
He clearly was telling the then regime that do anything to me as Ruto, but do not touch my children, leave my children alone. Yesterday, what he did to Keter's family, it is so disrespectful. To disrespect a man, and then you go further disrespect the wife and further disrespect the children, it's just a big shame. Once the bill has been withdrawn, Ruto must go. Correct. And actually there's an act that should take precedence as things are. Ruto, they should ensure that that budget is reduced to around 3 trillion. We don't need a budget of 3.9 trillion if we can't manage it.
In spite of the blatant lawlessness exhibited by the abductors who have been profiled as police officers, President William Ruto threw his weight behind the security officers, acknowledging their work during a media sit-down at State House. This in stark contrast to his pledges to end the frequent abductions in the country.
I said there will be no extrajudicial killing in Kenya. That's number one. And I have made sure that there is no extrajudicial killing in Kenya. That's number one. Number two, when I came into office, I said, I want an independent police service. And I did sign the necessary instruments so that the police does not need permission, does not need authority, and does not report to the office of the president. The police operational, financial independence, I have made sure that the police don't have to ask me, don't ask anybody. They operate independently.
A video that went viral online clearly captured Alfred Keter being suddenly and forcefully taken away after leaving church with his family in the Lavington area of Nairobi. Keter has been critical of President William Ruto's administration, especially while in support of the Gen Z in the opposition to the controversial Finance Bill 2024. Earlier this week, the police reform group reported that the abduction of 34 people is linked to the opposition of the controversial 2024 Finance Bill. Innocent Ogaro, KTN News, Nairobi.
All right, we take a short break right now. Looking at the editorial cartoon today in the Daily Nation, it's all about also what we just saw there, the abductions and the arrests. As they can see clearly from the spectacles of the IG, and also the Interior Ministry as well, and also the President, you can see the denial also tinted frame there is what they can see. Them, it's all about the arrest, but we can see it's abductions according to what the editorial cartoon is all about. Also from the church, praise God, praise my government. This is what the double face of a church looks like today, with also the dirty money in the briefcase there. The words of cash jutting out. Is it politics or in church or church in politics? That is a question. We'll take a short break.